Howdy, everybody, and welcome to this week's show. How's it going, Scott?
Going good. Busy getting ready for this weekend.
Yeah, got everything loaded yet?
Pretty much. A couple boxes to throw in the truck, and most of my gear is already out there in my camp, so I'm ready to rock on the boat end.
Yeah, and you're saying your boat's already out there.
Yeah, I set up a seasonal site, so I leave my stuff out there. So I'm just back and forth commuting with the truck only. So easy.
Sweet. Did you have you been out on the lake yet?
I have fished every weekend since May long weekend. I've been out on the lake.
Oh yeah, how's the bite been?
Slow,
Yeah.
sporadic. They're not stacked up yet. There's no thermocline yet, so it's not mid July fishing. It's definitely early season bite. So it's normal, right? It happened last year, right? The bite picked up basically just in time for the tournament. So
yeah,
see what happens this year.
Yeah, last year was on fire. It was crazy.
Yeah, I struggled in pre-fish last year, and then it was like, yeah, whatever, we'll figure it out. Went out on tournament day, and first day, I think I landed 50 fish.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we did same numbers pretty much. It was awesome, but we didn't have no pre-fish, I guess, so we didn't see that slowness.
Yeah, it's been slow. Normally I'm walleye fishing this time of year. This year I went Laker fishing instead, and it's been it's different, but we'll get them jigging, we'll get them down rigging, all that stuff. So they're still biting out there. They're there. You see them on sonar. It's just a matter of getting them to bite.
Well, that makes it a little more challenging. It's not a whole pile of fish for people to sort through, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. You got to just find the big ones where they're stacked up and sit on them.
Yeah. And Steve's having some issues. Who knows where he is?
Yeah. As long as he's ready tomorrow, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties on his end.
Yeah, we might see him later. Who knows? He might show up. So with that no thermal line there, what do you have any tips that you're gonna share?
It's tough to share them all, but the fish are scattered right now, right? They're not below it like usual, right? Normally you get them if you're jigging for them, they're turning around at that 30-40 foot mark on a chase, and you got to try to get them before then. Right now they'll come all the way up. They're all throughout the water column right now, so it is the hardest time to catch Lakers. Everyone likes them shallow because they can catch them long lining or dipsy divers, but it's definitely it's more, they're everywhere is the easiest thing to say. Basically, I've mapped out some new areas that I haven't fished before. That's basically what I did on the weekend. I probably burned 100 liters in fuel in the last 2 weekends mapping new areas and barely even fishing the spots.
Yeah.
So look who got rid of their technical difficulties.
You betcha.
How's it going, Steve?
Good. And you, Mitch? Sorry for being late.
Well, that's okay. That'll happen. We're late at half the time anyways. How's things been with you?
Excellent. Getting ready for Cold Lake, and I think you nailed it on your intro for the podcast tonight. It's it's one of those addicting things. Like you said, and like I said in the intro, is the addiction that you get from fishing lake trout is unreal.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just something kind of different every time, and just one more thing to put in the memory bank that you can work on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like any fishing, but every time you go out, you're learning. And I find lake trout so exciting because it's not something I've done a whole lot of, but I look forward to doing it more and more, and learning from everyone I go out with and I'm around in events like this.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been fishing lake trout very long either. Probably 6 years, 7 years I started, I guess. but I have to go like multiple times a year now, just because it's just different. It's just a different.
For sure. For sure. And you even see it now when you're going into the tackle stores and you're talking to people. It's something that's really catching on here really quick. And the retailers are even catching up with the demand, and even a lot of the tackle industries and are catching up with the need for the lake trout equipment and specialty equipment.
Yeah.
100%.
I think my addiction's been, I think this is year 10 for me. And it started off ice fishing one weekend and one fish, and it was back the next weekend. And then it was, I need a bigger boat for summer. Yeah. It's just ballooned from there over the years. Right. And it's just, it's learning them, figuring them out. It's been fun doing it. Last year I guided out there all year. I'm doing that again this year too. So, a lot of fish caught, a lot of customers, some haven't even caught fish before. And now they're catching 10, 20, 30 Lakers in a day, and their arms are sore after 4 hours or after 8 hours, especially.
Oh yeah.
And they're addicted.
I know last year at the end of the day, my arm was dead. Like we were both dead. We were switching the rod into the other arm because you're just too sore and you're just gibble reeling because you're just beat.
Well, I'm glad you guys are admitting to it, because I know last year I went out with Scott and we had 200 fish days back to back. And I looked at Scott and I said, I hate to be this guy. Of all the fishing that I've done, I said, my arm is sore. I said, I'm almost done for the day. And he's laughing.
Yeah.
You got to drink your beer through a straw that night because you can't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
You just need one of those hats with the two.
Yeah. The guy that catches the least amount of fish cooks the steaks that night on the barbecue because he can still flip them, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's like that this year.
It should pick up.
Yeah. Do one of you have another radio one?
Nope.
Or another screen?
Maybe Steve's kicked in.
He has all of them on.
No, I don't.
So I don't know what I'm getting an echo from.
I'm getting it too.
We'll find out. We got to figure this. I wonder if Steve did have something on.
It's gone. You're good.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. You betcha. More technical difficulties. It's like an amateur hour over here tonight.
Who invited that guy? Yeah.
So with that harder bite, are you guys going to downsize or just keep ripping big stuff and hope for aggressive fish?
Probably both.
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say probably both.
Yeah.
There's two guys in a boat, and one guy should do something. Some guy should. I know my partner that I'm fishing with. He likes to fish tube jigs, so he'll probably start off with tube jigs. I'll start off with swim baits, and you go from there. The boat's full of tackle, so whatever works.
And I'm kind of on the same plan as Scott. I think I'm going to do both. I think I'm going to start out with some larger aggressive stuff and see if I can trigger something. And if not, I can slowly downsize throughout the day and see what we can drum up that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably just rock a 2 jig right off the bat, depending on the conditions, I guess.
Yeah. We're lucky enough. I don't know if you guys discussed this while I was getting my act together, but we're going to go up 2 days before. So hopefully we can locate some fish by covering some ground and doing some mapping and seeing what's out there for some structure and seeing what we can find for some schooled fish. But, 300 and what is it? 350 square feet of water. Person's got to find some, or miles, find some good spots, because you're not going to cover it all, obviously. But if you can do a little bit of mapping, a little bit of covering some ground and spotting some schools and maybe dropping a jig down on them, or even doing some trolling with some spoons and seeing if you can pick up a fish here and find some schools and then drop down on them. It's going to be interesting because I think it's definitely going to be a slower bite. I'm anticipating maybe 6 to maybe a dozen fish a day.
Ooh, ice fishing days.
Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Scott was saying the water temps were around 50 degrees last weekend. So
they were 62.8 on Saturday, and on Sunday they were 52.8.
Yeah, so
10 degrees overnight.
So virtually no thermocline right now. They could basically be anywhere and spread out. So maybe look around for some bait fish and feeding fish, but you're definitely not going to see the large schools that you're used to seeing in August and September for sure.
Yeah.
And they may show up. It may be one of those like the last year on Saturday in the rain, they were there. And then as it cleared up, the day slowed down. And then on Sunday, it was gorgeous and the bite got hard. But, I just lucked out and grabbed 2 big fish that day, right? So, and that's one thing too, like with the rule changes this year, it's not 1 fish anymore. There's no more lucky dog. Now it's 3 fish cumulative length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's barbless too, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a nice change. Hopefully people read the rules and realize that there has been some changes and that.
I thought they were always barbless for some reason.
The walleye trail tournament are, but some of these other ones are not forced into it. So, but just to comment here on Broden's comment there, but we'll be running live sonar, absolutely.
Yeah, I should steal Broden's. Maybe not. We got some spots marked out. We got some good spots that usually hold fish, so we'll start there then.
Yeah, that's what I tried this weekend was new spots. I have my old haunts, but I don't. One of my favorite spots has no fish on it right now, and it normally doesn't get fish until July. So I fished it just to double check, and I tried this and that on it, but it's not even worth playing there. And it's a great ice fishing spot, but there's no point wasting time fishing there right now. That's where I lucked out with the bottle of whiskey for sonar. That's not bad, eh?
Yeah. We better do it.
Yeah.
Broden should just get in your boat. I don't know what he's doing talking like that.
I told him to. He's got a kayak tournament down south, so
well, he's gonna need it then.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't use it in there anyway.
But
that's. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I was trying out some new haunts, new this, new that, and try out some different places. I don't want to fish in the crowds.
Yeah.
I know I tend to get followed around that lake a little bit. So does Mr. Weaver. But if you can't catch us, maybe you can't find us for a while. So we'll see. We just got his boat all fixed up, so he's good to rock and roll again. So that was good news.
Yeah.
We were talking about live sonar earlier, and I think that's going to be, some of the big changes that you see with going forward with lake trout fishing. As far as technology and the accessibility now of live sonar, you see a lot more people using it and a lot more success using it, and if you've ever fished with it, you realize it truly is video game fishing and how much it does change. It can be aggravating at times, don't get me wrong, but just to see how the fish are reacting.
Yeah. We used it in the winter there for the winter tournament, and you could see them off there. And then 10 feet away, nope.
Yeah.
10 feet away, nope.
Perfect example. I can vouch for that. I fished up there for 5 days with Scott and caught 1 fish. Saw lots on live sonar, but couldn't catch one. Like you said, they'd come in, nope.
Yeah, and our dead sticks did a lot better, but we kind of used the live imaging to find where we wanted to put those dead sticks, where we were seeing the most active fish going through.
Well, it's the nice thing in summer. You can move the 30 feet over, the 50 feet, whatever it may be, and get on top of those fish a lot easier than winter, right?
Yeah. The coolest thing I've seen on live sonar was when I was Scott. We were jigging on live sonar, and fish on the bottom didn't want to take it, so I reeled up to a bigger one up higher. and all of a sudden the little ones from the bottom decided they wanted to chase the tube jig, and then all of a sudden saw on live sonar the little one chasing it disappeared to the big one. So it was gone. I wish I would have had that on video.
Yeah, no, they're pretty sweet.
Well, and the target separation too, right? On standard 2D, let's say there's 3 fish on a screen. You're in 100 feet of water. Well, you got basically a 33-foot diameter on the bottom. Where's that fish, or where are those 3 fish? Now you're seeing that fish, 2 of them are off in the distance 20, 30 feet away, but one of them's right at your bait. So you know how to play what fish now versus let's hope that line moves up and chases me. I actually turn my 2D off when I'm with the live sonar just so I don't get interference. And I don't even use it. That's why when I make my videos, I'll be saying to people like, I'm about 80 feet deep because I don't have my depth turned on because my 2D is turned off, and then your bottom's on the angle, and it's like, well, you're lining up. Okay, you're from the side, you're doing the old graph. It's like, okay, I'm about 80 feet here, but over there it's 100 feet, and over there it's 60 feet, and it's just the live sonar. It is a game changer. It's video game fishing. It's a game changer. It's all those things that people do say. It is. There's no way around it. It's not cheap. It's not ridiculously expensive. You can get into it now for about just over $3,000, I would say. Just under $3,000 plus a pole. So it's not cheap, definitely, but you got to pay to play, and everyone that does get it loves it and wishes they had it longer, but it's an investment for sure.
Yeah, no, they are crazy sweet, but I don't think I'll justify it this year just because I don't think I'll be fishing too much.
Yeah.
Or wait till August and buy it when there's a nice big sale on.
Yeah.
And you can save 20 or 25 points.
Yeah, I'll just wait for the newest model, the next model. Because I know we were doing good at like 90 feet. We could pick up like a small jig. But after that, we really couldn't see much. And even moving in shallower, just probably because of the way that drop-off was, we weren't marking very good at 80. So,
yeah. Summer and ice are definitely different as well on the live sonar. Yeah. You can see further in the open water.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's something we should do, is just throw a plug out there to the city of Cold Lake. If you are in town out there and you need anything, there's a few tackle shops out there, right? So definitely, Dean at Boardwalk Bait and Tackle. I know Dean personally. I've been into his store a few times, and I know he's the kind of guy that's going to stay open late for all the contestants. Like, he knows what time we're getting off the water, and he's not going to close the doors at 4:00, knowing that everybody wants to get into his store at 4:30, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm sure Dean will stay open late for everybody to get in there. And he's got rods, he's got reel. You snap a rod, or if you come up there, we'll talk about gear here in a little bit, but you want to change your rod halfway through the day or through the event for the next day, he's got that stuff in stock up there. So definitely, we support the stores here locally, and wherever our local town is. Like, I'm in Edmonton, I support the guys here, but I definitely like to support Dean out there in Cold Lake because I do fish there a lot too. So he's got himself a great little store out there with kind of everything you need, and he's a fisherman himself, so he knows what we need out there.
This being my first year, I've been really super impressed with the whole city of Cold Lake, from everything from their emails, from all the hotels around and restaurants offering fishermen spectacular deals on everything, and everything from rooms to meals to everything. It's been great. They've really, supported this event and gathered all around it and put on a great event. Yeah,
there's a ton of people coming. So
yeah.
Did it sell out yet?
I think it's somewhere around 380 some so far. The last time we looked a couple days. 280. Yeah, 280. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think my buddy entered and he's probably like 281, and we had some difficulties with my catch there for a second, but Sean sorted it all out for us. It took a couple hours, but
288, and my name's still at the top of the list.
I saw that.
Steve's actually third, so it's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
I think we registered within like the first 5 minutes of it opening.
Yeah, I've just been watching it. We just registered Friday, I guess.
Right on.
I didn't know if I was going to make it with the newborn. Then my buddy has a newborn too. So luckily we have great wives that let us sneak away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's difficult. We ask a lot of our families to do things like this, and, we're very grateful. And I get that. I'm fortunate enough now. My kids are 20 and 16, so I'm getting back into doing this kind of stuff and that. But I remember those days when it was tough to get away and go on fishing trips and do events like this.
Yeah, it's nice to have the support. So maybe family trip next weekend or something somewhere.
Yeah.
But so
30 degrees again.
Oh man, I hate this weather.
Me too.
It's horrible. Just give me a 20, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I do 30 minus 30 better than I do plus 30 by far.
Yeah.
Throw me into the heat. Maybe you know what the change in weather can definitely change the bite too. So
yep.
And it happened last year. I was not very happy in pre-fish at all. So, I guess for new guys and gals out there, this is their first time. There is the boat check-in on the Thursday and Friday night at the rec center in town, or it's the rec center in behind. They did email out today a list of what you need in your boat. So that's again, that's what Steve's saying. They're being super helpful. They're on it. They're trying to make the best of this event. They're trying to make it as safe as possible. I don't know if it's a rule, but it's something I do in my boat. But whenever I'm running with my main engine fast, I got my life jacket on and I got a kill switch on. My boat goes too fast to mess around. So I just put that kill switch on and put on an inflatable life jacket. You don't even know you're wearing the thing. So,
and it's such a big lake. You never know what it can throw out. You can go out, on a calm afternoon, then all of a sudden, 4-footers roll up. So, it's always to err on the caution of safety.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a little wet this weekend too. So
yeah.
Bring your rain gear.
Yeah, that's good. Rain gear is going to be a must this weekend, I think.
Yeah. And hopefully that changes the bite a bit.
Yeah, hopefully.
But what kind of gear you guys running for rods and line and reels?
Well, I'm spooled up right now, and I've had my reels. I spooled up with fresh line this week. My bait casters, I'm running 20-pound Suffolk braid, and then running a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. Most of my rods are in that 7'6" to 8-foot medium to medium heavy range, and I really like high speed bait cast reels. As we know, you can't reel fast enough to get your lure away from a lake trout. So I like those 8.3 to 1 ratios around there rather than the lower gear ratios. I think Scott's run pretty much around the same stuff, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a mistake last year, but I was given a sample Lew's Super Duty reel to try out when the season started, and there's 3 different speeds, and the sample reel that I was handed was an 8.3 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I stared fishing that reel, and it was an eye opener for me. And I was like, oh, I want this. I want speed. I've ended up, I gave that sample back, and I think I now own 4 of them because just on different rods. Same thing as Steve. Steve's my little protege when it comes to lake trout because he listens. But we're branded by different companies, which is fine. But we're still running the same. I'm the same. That 7.6 to 7.11 is my stuff. My go-to is a 7.11, medium heavy, moderate to moderate fast. I like some of a good stiff backbone for setting the hook. You're fishing in anything from 60 to 100 and whatever, call it 120, 130 feet of water, vertical jigging. You set that hook and you want to feel it.
Yeah.
Mono is a no-no. I've never fished with it, but I had a friend that I was fishing around, and he told me that he couldn't catch a laker out there. He lives in Bonnyville, and he couldn't catch a laker. He fished it all the time, and he couldn't figure it out. And someone finally asked him what line he was using. He was using mono, and it's got so much stretch that he didn't feel the bite. And by the time he felt the bite, fish was gone.
Yeah, that 20 to 25% stretch factor.
Yeah, so I'm a 20-pound braid. I use the Strike King Contra high vis. I'm just a high vis junkie. I love that stuff. And then same 20, 25-pound fluorocarbon, about 10-foot leader on that. And no swivel on that. I tied direct. And I tied direct to the braid to the fluoro as well. And then I tied direct to the lure. I don't use swivel. The only time I use swivels is if I'm trolling the Northern Kings. Just because you kind of have to with a spoon. But I take as much of that hardware out of play. I can reel my fluoro right into my rod. I don't have to worry about breaking rod guides, anything like that. When you're paying lots of money for rods, you don't want to break them. So,
and we've even seen, Scott's seen this firsthand, and I've seen it too, where even the length of fluorocarbon makes a difference. Mm-hmm. Everything from, if it's too short, obviously they're going to see your line, to if it's too long. Scott was actually in a boat where he saw that once that knot hit that guide, it was about a 30-foot lead. The fish would only follow it up to 30 feet, and they must have heard that knot hit the...
They'd hear the tick, and they'd turn every time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Buddy was watching a video of someone in Lake Superior fishing, and he's like, I use really long leads because really, really clear water. And he was fishing in my boat. It was my partner last year when it happened. And it was... Right, yeah. I said to him, I finally just cut that fluoro. I've had enough of this. I wasn't so nice about it either. And he did. And then all of a sudden he's like, you're right. I'm glad I listened to you, because
hooking up fish.
He started hooking fish again. If you don't hook them at the bottom, you're not going to hook them at the top with that line, because I could hear the click, and as soon as I hear the tick in my ear, I'd see the screen, and the fish would go whoop, back down.
And I really think that high vis braid is important too, because so many people miss fish because when they're dropping back down, if you're reeling up and you have a chaser and he turns and you open up your bail and it's going back down, just watching for that line jump sometimes, just by watching your braid is huge. I know I caught that several times when we were out there last September, watching it drop, and all of a sudden your line jumps or stops, and you're just watching the line. You click that bail back in, and I don't know how many fish we caught that way.
Yeah. I guess that's another thing too that I fish. I recommend it, but it's definitely not the end all be all. Is I use bait casting reels, low profiles. I like to use ones with flipping switches because it's one-handed to stop it. But my thumb's on that spool as I'm lowering down. So if a fish does bite it and it either takes off with it, you feel it speed up, or if it stops with it or swims up with it, you feel it stop.
Yeah.
So I like the feel over the visibility of it, but I've just come accustomed to bait casters. Plus they're just smaller in your hand all day long. Easier to use. Customers used them all last summer. No one had any issues with casting reels. You don't really bird's nest because you're not casting.
Mm-hmm. So. And I find with all manufacturers too, is once you switch over to a bait caster, you can find more of a rod selection that you're after than the spinning. Like Scott and I were saying, we like that 7.5 to 8.5 foot medium to medium heavy, and it's hard to find that in a spinning reel, the exact action you want. I mean, you can find them, but just not as much of a variety out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just run a medium heavy rod. Same pretty much as you guys. Pretty much same setup, but I use a little smaller fluoro.
Yeah.
But pretty much bang on all the same.
Yeah.
I set the hook too hard. I have to use 20.
Yeah. With that, when you guys you both have downriggers?
My partner does that I'm fishing with, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got a brand new set sitting right there that just showed up today.
Nice.
My boat show credit came too, so I picked up some new downriggers. So I'll get those set up and test those out before. If not, I'll use the old ones, but I think I'll get them. I'll be able to get them in pre-fish on there and try them out. They're gonna work. They're the exact same ones I had before.
And like I said in the beginning, I mean, if you're searching for fish and and trying to cover some water, absolutely put the downriggers down, put some spoons down, put some quick fish down, something just to cover some water and search for fish. And, there's so many techniques that can be used. I've seen people using salmon techniques out there, running J plugs and stuff like that, cut plug herring, and doing really well. So,
yeah, I won't be putting the downriggers on. I'll just be using a banana weight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the nice thing. That's the nice thing is there's, it's learning at these events. There's a lot of good local anglers that they employ a lot of different techniques from, running banana weights to running jet divers, dipsy divers. It's interesting to see what people use and learning how to do it and
yeah.
That's the nice thing with this tournament being this weekend is it's not a downrigger only troll. Not that midsummer's only downriggers, but you're letting a lot of line out there if you're running a pink lady or a dipsy diver. Whereas on the downrigger, when I use line counters, and my magic number when I'm done at my depth on my reel is 107 feet. That's how much line I have out only, and I'm down at 80, 90 feet. So makes a big difference basically when you're doing that. That's the nice thing with this tournament being this early. And I talked to the mayor last year and he said they like it this weekend because there's nothing else going on in town. So it's a good weekend to bring people to town. But, with 300 people coming into town or more with families, if they're not fishing, they got, campgrounds are full, hotels are full, all that kind of stuff. So the marina is going to be busy. The restaurants are going to be busy. It's going to be a hopping little town this weekend. And it's great to see. It's such a good town or city, I guess. It's great to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, when we troll around, we just use those banana weights. We'll just drop it right to the bottom, then just reel up probably 10 feet and just go with a real nice flutter spoon.
Nice.
And that did good for us last year.
That's where you need the live sonar. You can put it on forward mode, point it backwards, and actually watch your spoon.
Yeah.
You'll even know your depth at that point, right?
Who needs that?
Yeah. Who needs consistency, right?
No, you don't need that.
So with that being said, we're talking about equipment, and I mean, that's an excellent way of doing things. Do you employ a line counting reel so that you can duplicate your setup, know that you're, say, 100 feet back and touching bottom and duplicate that every time?
I'll just keep track of how many times I wrap that reel.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if I'm not getting anything, I'll do a little more just to find kind of. But usually with the sonar, you can find the range. Most of them are sitting around anyways.
Yeah.
So just by judging, because usually we do a pretty slow troll with those flutters because they're moving quite a bit anyways.
Yeah.
But
see, that's where I do like a line counting reel when I do that, is because that way, if I know if I have 70 feet out and that's where they are, and all of a sudden we're getting the bites at 70 feet on the reel, I can duplicate that pretty quick. And even my partner can.
Yeah, for sure. How much, Scott?
For the side scan and live target for FS7. Well, side scan, the FS7 should come with the active imaging 3-in-1. If not, the transducer itself is $400, or might have went up a little bit to $450. Active target right now is on sale for, what is it, Steve? $1710, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Just over
target 1 at most stores, really. If a guy bought the 7 with the ice pack and got the HDI, then side scan would be, I think it's a little over $400 for a transducer.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no Garmin for you guys.
No, not for me.
When trolling, do you guys have like a favorite depth you find or colors that you'd like to just be, that's your go-to?
I have 2 depths that I use that I'll tell you next week. And, and I'll give one hint to it. They're odd numbers. There.
Okay. I know what it is.
Weird. But yeah, I have 2 depths that I use. As for spoon colors, so a little backstory on me is I used to troll Len Thompson's a ton, and Jessica from Len Thompson knew that and asked me to join their team when they started a pro staff brand ambassador team. So that spring they'd actually acquired, which way do I got to move here, the Northern King brand over here, and it's a flutter spoon. It was made on the Great Lakes. There's 2 versions of it. There's smooth and there's hammered. So being a scuba diver, I actually took some spoons diving one trip and just dangled them in front of my face. And I now, not that I don't like, but I don't use the smooth as much as I use the hammered, because all those different facets on the back reflecting that sun, it's like 50 different beams of sun hitting me in the eyes down there. I was like, okay, that just if I make custom spoons, I'm making it on hammered for sure. Just because of that. Color wise, I really do like glow, and they have a new super glow this year, which is pretty wicked. I didn't get my hands on them yet because I've just been too busy to place an order. But yeah, if you can get some for the tournament, definitely do, because it's going to be dark, it's going to be cloudy, it's going to be overcast, raining, all that. So definitely glow is going to be advantageous. I've always been a chartreuse lover, though.
Yeah.
Well before our friend, if it ain't chartreuse, it ain't no use. That he's wrong. I've used chartreuse. I'd have to date back to probably 2013. I've been using chartreuse as my go-to color, trolling and jigging. Last year, I kind of decided on the swim baits, though. The color didn't matter once it got hot. Right now, when it's slow, yeah, colors are going to matter. But once it got hot in that summer bite, it was just the tail, that action, that swim bait, that makes fish mad. I knew one guy's like, oh, this is the only color working today. I'm like, okay. So I put on every other color under the sun that didn't match what he told me, and bam, fish on every time. So lake trout are predator fish. They're aggressive fish. That's why, like Steve said, those 8.3 to 1 reels. I got my eyes on a different lose reel. The name slipped my mind, but it's I think it's a 9.5 to 1. No flip and switch. That's the only reason I don't own it, but it's like the speed. I'll find it here, but yeah, it's all about speed, and in the summer. So in the slower bite right here, it's use your sonar. Trust your sonar. When you see a fish in 100 feet of water on your sonar, it's a fish. It's not interference. So definitely trust it. We got one of our Clarissa just logged in. Hey, Clarissa, how are you? But I'm just looking for that reel casting. Definitely, I'm a sucker for speed. Hyper speed. That's what it's called, which is fitting name. It is 9.5 to 1. So that's
wow. That's smoking. Yeah,
it's gonna rip. That's gonna be your late July, your last week of July up to September long. That reel is gonna be just crazy. Hey, Broden, I beat you, Broden.
Too slow.
Broden's been using the Lose brand this year, and he's just been loving the stuff. So happy for him. I talked him into buying some at the boat show, and he's loving it.
Yeah. So. Since it's kind of post spawn, do you think those fish will be moving from their beds and catching them on the way?
No, it's not post spawn. They spawn in October.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why they shut down in September to November. So these fish they're just scattered waiting for that water to be normal.
Yeah. I think, with all the other fish that have spawned, like the walleye and the suckers and everything, I think what you're going to find is you're going to find the lake trout following the food source, and they can pretty much, since they like that 40 to 50 degree range, they can pretty much follow them anywhere the food source is right now. So I think if you can come across, the bait fish adjacent to some deeper water, I think you're going to find the lake trout. And I mean, I wouldn't even be afraid to, guys who want to go cast some crankbaits or spoons up in the shallows, I think they'll do well as well, or or running spoons or crankbaits on planer boards away from the boat up into the shallows. I think they'll do well if they find the bait fish.
Yeah, fishing the top of those shelves.
Yep, exactly. That's where your flutter spoons, come into play. Long lining behind the boat, up in shallow water. Even to the deep water too. But you find that bait fish, I think you're going to find the fish.
For sure. Steve, did you get a hotel for the weekend or what?
No, actually, I'm staying with my partner there, so we've rented a campsite and pulling a B train up there. So staying in his fifth wheel and taking the boat up, and we're gonna all a bunch of us are going up and staying together. So plan on having some fun on and off the water and that. We might even have a beanbag tournament going on afterwards and have a barbecue. So it's gonna be a good time. Yeah.
You probably didn't catch enough fish then.
Yeah. You're gonna have to throw the opposite hand.
Yeah.
Well, no, I got a seasonal site up there, and there was a couple extra spots, so we got Steve and Mike in there, and then I got a buddy of mine, Johnny 5. He's bringing his son, Johnny 6, so we'll have him and the little 9-year-old. He's gonna get his first experience of Lakers. 5's only fished Lakers with me one time, and it was the trip I did up in December, the 3rd and 4th years ago in the winter, and he just loved it. So he wants some more action on that. What else do we got? We got a few buddies coming out, and we're all kind of in the same area, and it's gonna be we're putting the band back together. We're gonna have fun, right?
And that's what it's about for me. That's why I want to do this tournament, because it's just a fun, family orientated tournament. Go out and have some good laughs with buddies. And Scott laughed the other day because I posted on my Instagram the famous scene from The Hangover when all the boys are in the cars yelling that we're back. Just go out and have a good time and meet a bunch of good friends, hang out with people, talk fishing, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of bait clouds do you guys focus on? Like, are you going to look for shiners, or what kind of bait do you guys think's more their cup of tea that they'll
Ideally, I like Cisco and Tullibee and burbot is what I'd like to see. Yeah.
I caught 3 burbot last weekend.
Nice.
Without bait.
Oh.
Just jig. I don't use bait in the summer. I don't even have bait in my boat in the summertime.
Huh.
But yeah, it's hard to see what the bait is on the sonar. Cisco is their main food source in that lake, though, for sure. The bigger the cloud, the better, right? Although I'm different than probably everybody. I don't like bait when I'm fishing. If I'm jigging and there's bait around, I don't like it because I find my bite slows down because there's more options for them. When I'm alone and I'm the only guy, or we got 2 or 3 people in the boat and we're the only people, then the odds are better. There's 3 baits in the water instead of 303 baits in the water. So again, the live sonar, you can see that there's the bait over here and it's off to the side, and there's 2 fish below it, 1 above it, and you can see all that stuff now, and exactly where they are. We've all seen 2D screens lit up with bait before, and now with the live sonar, it's like, oh, it's just a little bait cloud in the corner over there, but it's not moving, so it looks on the 2D screen like it's this massive bait cloud. And all your lines going, up and down through it, but really they're not even in it when you have the live sonar on, because it's 20 feet off to the side. But
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's I try to chase bait when I'm trolling, when I'm down rigging, but I don't chase bait when I'm jigging. But that's a Scott preference, and people might think I'm absolutely crazy for saying that, but and I'm not lying to say that to keep you away from it. That's me. I don't like bait. like I will sometimes jog and move the boat if there's bait there that stays too long, if it's interfering with our fishing.
Oh yeah.
But I'm crazy that way, I guess.
Yeah, because you can literally tell when those, especially on the live imaging, when that Lakers coming through those bait clouds, you can see them scatter.
Oh,
really, really cool to see. As soon as they start scattering, you start reeling.
Yeah.
That's where the fast comes in, right? You can get away quicker.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, their attitude's like, you're not getting away from me. And then there you go.
Yeah.
So it's
what's like the optimum lake trout temperature for the water, do you think?
At what? At surface?
Well, we could do it surface. Then do you ever?
It's technically, it's how does that work in the summer? It's 4 degrees at the thermocline, right?
Yeah.
And the thermocline normally sets up in Cold Lake in that 40 to 50 foot range, and that's why when I had customers all last summer and be like, if you don't land your fish by 40 feet, watch, it's just going to turn on you and you're going to keep reeling and then just drop back down. Like, it's almost like there's a force field that they can't go through.
Yeah.
And you can sometimes aggravate them enough to get through it, but most of the, probably, I wouldn't even say 9 out of 10, probably 19 out of 20 times they turn.
Yeah.
And you get that one fish to chase through it. And when they do, they're going to come at you because you've really made them mad to come through that thermocline.
Yeah.
So It's kind of like the movie The Meg, right? If you've seen that, the shark doesn't go through the thermocline until there's an opening in it. And that's in a way how these fish act as well. It's, it's a fake movie, but it's real when you're out on Cold Lake.
Yeah.
And it's not there right now. So unless it forms this week somehow, I did just get a text that the water's 62 degrees today again. So it went back up.
Yeah.
So it pays to have friends in low places.
Yeah.
Or all places. So, the water temps went back up from Sunday. And Sunday was a gorgeous day. There was barely a wind out there. I was ripping all over that lake. I don't know how much fuel I burned on Sunday, but it is what it is. So there's definitely the warm water on the surface. When the thermocline, creates, I couldn't really tell you. I don't know. I saw a little bit of it the other day, but it was only at 15 feet. So it's starting in spots, but we need a couple of days. But if we get like this wind that we got here today, if this is up there, it's going to turn that lake over again.
Yeah.
Could even throw current into that lake. That lake does get current in it. So your line won't be straight below your boat at times. So just be aware that is a normality in that lake. You're not going crazy, because we do have a lot of people coming out here for possibly the first time. There's someone in the comments earlier. I want to say it was Aaron.
It's Brad, I think.
Was it Brad? Brad, I've never caught a lake trout in my life. I'll be happy to catch one. Well, you will. Not to do a shameless plug, but go watch my YouTube channel. There's a lot of how to catch lake trout videos in that. I made one last year, a week before the tournament, and basically, how to catch a lake trout on a swim bait. Everything we've talked about today, I put in a 30-minute video and released before the tournament last year. And I fished the tournament exactly like that last year, and I did well. So I share a lot of tips on my channel, from knots to gear to how to fish, and just day of. And there's lots of lake trout tips on there for sure, because that's mainly what I do. I cut back some of the videos last summer because I don't think people wanted to watch me catch lake trout every day. So,
what kind of structure do you guys look for? Like, what do they like to hang around? And what kind of rocks or bottom, sandy? What's kind of your go-tos for those?
A lot of Cold Lake is sand. So they like ledges. They the transitions, the flat to the drop, to the flat again.
Or if you can find a sand to rock transition, absolutely. And usually that's attracting bait fish again, depending on the depths, right?
Yeah, and those Cisco's are all over the place. So
yeah.
You don't have to worry about, they're only going to be in 20 feet of water. They're not. They're going to be in 60, 80, 100. Heck, they're going to be in 200 feet at times.
Yeah, even suspended over deep water.
Yeah. The biggest thing I guess I could recommend all these to everybody is, if you do decide to fish deep, please reel up slow. Let these fish burp. Let them do their thing. Lakers do burp as veteran guys like us know they will burp. But if you wrap line around their mouth by from them twisting and rolling, if their mouth's not open, they can't burp. Just reel them up slow. Hopefully they burp. You can see on sonar.
Watch.
You'll see
even watch for the bubbles coming through the surface.
Yeah. So just if you do fish deep, please reel slow. The whole let's get our picture as quick as we can. Like, you're not going to see me taking pictures of every fish I catch. I didn't last year. I won't again. I only want to take pictures of the ones that I need to count. There's a lot of times I don't even let the fish come in. I don't even touch it. I'll grab the hook and pop it out. With barbless hooks, you just grab that hook, twist it, out it comes. It's funny too. The fish will just sit there because he doesn't know he's unhooked yet. And there's times you almost got to just tap them on the belly on the side to remind them that they're a fish, and they swim back down. But the least we can handle these fish, the better. Barbless hooks, obviously it's the rule. So hopefully everybody follows it. I fished barbless all last summer. Even this year, the jig head I'm using, it's barbless. I pinched it. I had one in my hand last year from a customer, and they felt horrible. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's barbless. It popped right out. So it's a safety thing for us. It's a safety thing for the fish. If we're going to be out there on this lake and catch, if there's going to be, let's just say 300 participants and we all catch 10 fish a day, that's 6,000 fish hooked. So let's think, if you think of it that way, like the barbless is definitely the way to go. I'm glad they made that rule change. So,
do you guys run stingers on your tubes?
Tubes, yes, but I don't run tubes.
Oh,
I very rarely run stingers if I don't have to. I'm hoping for that more aggressive bite, but I mean, I can certainly see where in some situations that, a person would want to run one.
Yeah. No. When I made my own, well, I still do. I've been making my own jig heads for Lakers for, which house did I live in? Probably 8 years now. I've been making them, and I pour stingers into them, but like I said, I don't really use them anymore. Ice fishing, maybe, and ice fishing, you got such a slow bite that if you do get a bite, you want it to count.
Yeah.
But when you got these aggressive Lakers and swim baits, it's just, I don't want to put a stinger in and have that tail get impeded by anything, because I want it to really flutter and flap. So
yeah, for sure.
And I'll give a little bit of a secret away here. I would sooner run a Colorado blade off the back for flash and vibration than a stinger in most cases.
Yeah. Do you find that helps a lot on your bite?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Just that flash and thump, just like with a swim bait, it's over a tube. You just get that thumping action, appealing to their lateral line and everything, vibration through the water. I find it triggers more fish. That's me, but I know guys swear by the tubes and they do well. Don't get me wrong, but I favor the vibration of a paddle tail over anything else.
Yeah. Well, that's a good tip. I might have to tie one on.
Absolutely.
The biggest tip I can give is basically what I always was telling my customers last year is lake trout don't like to be showed up. So if you're dropping a jig down and they see it and you start running away from them, they don't really want to be like, they want their other fish around them to see that they didn't get that bait. So they're going to go for it. And that's where Steve's saying, you get that extra thump. It's like extra vibration, extra everything in the water, therefore. And there's a lot of people I'm seeing in these comments that I know and that have fished out there, and they some of them are friends of mine, and it's like they fish my techniques and that, and they work. So like I said, I've shared so many darn tips for lake trout. I'm not going to give them all away 4 days before a tournament, but if you look hard enough, you can find them. Put it that way.
And one thing I like to do, we were talking earlier about preparation for the tournament and everything. I do this for my walleye swim baits. I do it for lake trout swim baits. I like to take a touch of super glue when I'm putting the swim bait on the body and put a little bit on the shank, just to stop. I don't know how many times when you're jigging, you get that hit from a lake trout. Scott and I always laugh and call it pants, right? Where it looks, you're pulling the pants down on the swim bait, right? So it makes all the difference in the world when you're gluing it to the shank. You know, you get a lot more use out of your swim bait, and you don't get that swim bait pulled down as much, especially when you miss a fish.
Yeah.
And you'll know if you're pantsed because your lure got twice as heavy as you're reeling up. So you're just like, don't waste your time jigging. Just get it up and start over.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what's your YouTube account, Scott?
Bulat Outdoors.
Say it one more time. You kind of glitched.
Bulat Outdoors.
Where can they find you on your other socials?
I guess my Instagram is Bulat_outdoors, and my Facebook's just my name, Scott Bulat.
So check out Scott. Better go watch his videos before the weekend, so everyone can fish like Scott.
Absolutely.
And Steve, where's your socials?
Well, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not as fancy as you guys, but my social media on Instagram is Meredith Outdoors, and Facebook is just my name, Steve Meredith.
Perfect. Well, thanks guys for being on. I'm going to wrap it up because my stomach's been a mess the last couple of days. So I better go deal with it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we run into you guys. I know we're staying at Parkland again, so at the Provincial. So
look forward to seeing you.
Are you going to launch at Provincial?
Yeah.
Because you can now, and it's a registered site.
Yeah, no, I saw that. So that's good. I know last year we had to rip around the corner and it was pretty choppy, kind of greasy, but.
Well, the first day it was, yeah.
Yeah, that morning was fun. We were just launching out of the water.
I went on an 18-mile run that day. Let's just put it that way. That was a fun start to the day.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for being on. We will see you on the water. And see
you there. Good luck.
Good luck.